Welcome to the Stories That Sparkle. I'm Hella Rader, and boy, am I excited to bring this week's episode to all of you. This is really more of a conversation that I had with Anita Knotts, founder of the Lotus Women's Institute, TEDx speaker, and also podcast host. Yeah, Women, Wealth, and Wisdom. Check it out wherever you get your podcasts, y'all. Anita is just an incredible powerhouse of a woman, and it is her mission, really her mission, to bring women into the financial services sector, to get them a seat at the table, to work in wealth management, and also to grow within that industry, to thrive. Because as we discuss in here at great length, money is the new F word, freedom. So yeah, it really is just an amazing conversation. It really came at an important time for me in my journey, not only of the Discoball Tour as I started the back end of the trip and started the last week of the trip, but also as I started to embark more seriously on how to turn what I'm doing into a profitable business. And Anita is a real inspiration to me for that. So yeah, I really needed to have this conversation with her at exactly this moment and needed to listen back to it right this moment as well. So, whew, yeah, it's a real treat, y'all. She's amazing. And before we get into this conversation I have with Anita, I just want to ask you to please consider becoming a free or paid subscriber to my Substack, hellarader.substack.com. It would go a long way in helping me continue to record more different women's stories and amplify more different women's voices. So thank you for your consideration. And now I invite you to get comfortable, sit back, and listen in. I'm Hella Rader. With a good sense of humor, an open heart, and an open mind, I love to explore the very human complexities in others and in myself. That's why I created a space for women you have never heard of and could easily pass on the street to share in their own voices the intricacies of starting over in life, building community, inhabiting their bodies, and more. Welcome to our Discoball, the stories that sparkle. Okay, well, we are rolling. I got cables everywhere.
Are you comfortable?
I'm comfortable. Hi, Anita.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. It's so nice to be here.
Well, welcome to our humble abode.
Thank you. Yeah, we're in Anita's sunroom.
Yes.
I do this at home in my sunroom, and now I'm in Anita's sunroom.
That's right.
Here in Chicago burbs.
Yes.
The burbs of Chicago.
The burbs of Chicago, yep.
I love it. It's really nice out here.
It's very peaceful, and yeah, we are very happy here, very blessed.
Well, and I met Chewy.
He greeted you at the door. He's our doorman.
The Kraken. The mini Kraken. Such a cutie pie.
He is, but as I just mentioned, he's the ruler of the roost here.
Yeah, he owns this place.
He does.
He owns
his
this
world.
place. So Anita, I'm just going to give reference for everyone listening how we met. We met through a mutual friend, someone you work with on things. She connected us, and then I had a Zoom with you. It was last July. I looked it up, July 29th.
Oh.
2024. It's in my calendar. Meet Anita, it said. There, it's all it said. And at the time, I was in the middle of negotiating my exit.
That's right.
From my then job. And I was put in touch with you to discuss, I don't know, what do I do next?
Yeah.
/ job situations. And you were the first person in a series of people I tried to get jobs from or through or something. You were like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think you need to work for yourself. And I was like, no, disregard. Wrong answer. Try again, Anita.
That's right.
But I'll never forget. It was a very delightful conversation.
I absolutely remember that. And my introduction to you was one of those conversations where you don't know what's going to come out of it.
Right.
Those are the best ones.
Yes.
There's no real ask other than a person saying you two should meet. And I thought within the first 5 or 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, there's some special energy about this person. And why is she doing what she's doing? Because the world needs her kind of in a different way.
Well, I appreciate that. You saw
Yes.
that because I could not see that then.
But isn't that how it always is?
Yes.
Everybody else can, not everybody else, but certain individuals that we come across can see that light. And sometimes we need others to point it out before we can see it in ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
No, well, so that's why. Thank you for being literally the first in a series of then subsequent others. But you were the first one, and I was like, I was afraid she was going to say something like that. Because I think I knew. I didn't want to know, but I knew deep down that I wasn't going to be working somewhere else.
That's right.
For someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's I can relate to that feeling of sometimes we're afraid to hear, what is it? That we're afraid to be pushing the boundaries because then we know we're going to have to step it up. We're going to have to show some accomplishment of some sort. And sometimes we just want to be. We just want to sit, right? And be still, which there is some value in that. But we need the people in our lives who say, we know you're capable of more. We know it. There's something else out there. And those individuals who, at least at first, start to gently nudge you, but then those nudges become louder and louder. And by the way, I firmly believe that these people, whoever they may be, we can say they're people, but ultimately it's the universe's way of saying, of pulling you towards something. You just have to listen.
Yeah. You are so right about that. It is not for the faint of heart, however.
No.
You are also right about that.
Yes.
It's like you're right. You get pushed to your edge and then you get to go past the edge.
Yes.
And that takes that moves you out of just being to some sort of forward momentum into the next thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh.
And sometimes, it takes you a few years, even though you hear it and that inner voice that I always speak of, it doesn't just go away if you ignore it. I always say it gets louder and louder and louder, but you still do the thing, whatever the thing is, when you're good and ready. And I believe in that too. It doesn't mean that you have to act on it immediately, but don't ignore it. It's telling you something. It's pointing you towards the way. And that is what you need to listen to. And at the time that you feel, I just know that there's never a time when it's going to be perfect. And this is what I find with a lot of women that I work with is that they're waiting for somebody to be standing at a mountaintop holding up a sign saying, this is the day. That day is not coming. You've got to make it that time. There's no perfect time. There's no exact right time. It's just your time.
Right. Ooh.
Yeah.
Wise words. So speaking of which, you do work with a lot of women. So I just want to give everyone listening a bit of background on that. Because you work with women primarily or essentially really in the financial services
Correct.
industry.
Correct.
So tell me a little bit about that. Like how did you, because you were in financial services for a long time.
Yes.
And then you made a shift.
Right.
So now you work with other women making a shift.
Correct.
So what was your, so I guess let's sort of set the stage, I guess, if you will, of where you were coming from and what was your shift.
Yeah, absolutely. So within financial services, I was in wealth management. And for those listeners who are like, what is that? It's basically you're helping people with their long-term financial goals. You're helping them with investments. You're helping them with a plan. Hey, I'm here today and I want to retire in 20 years. I would be one of those professionals in the industry that would help you do that. As I evolved, we'll say, in my career, I noticed that a lot of times women weren't really necessarily taking ownership of their own financial health. They would really outsource it to either their husbands or their brothers or their fathers or anybody but them. And these were intelligent women. These were hardworking women. It had nothing to do with their capability. It had everything to do with their willingness. And so that was observation number one. Why are women not becoming equal participants in the household financial decision making? The second thing that I noticed is that I didn't see a whole lot of people who looked like me, specifically woman and person of color. Right. I was born in India. I was essentially raised here because I moved here when I was 4. But When I entered the field 30 odd years ago, didn't see anybody who looked like me, very few women and even fewer women of color. So I thought these two factors were interesting, and at the same time, they were frustrating to me. And by the time the pandemic kind of came and went, I thought, are these two factors potentially related? In other words, if I could work on a way to bring more women and minorities into this male-dominated space of wealth management, even the name sounds so beastly, right?
Yeah.
But if I could get it to look more like me, would those me's be better at bringing women to the table when it comes to these discussions? So in other words, female investors, getting them to take notice more of the importance of this, of financial health. So after the pandemic, I think I did a lot of what many women did, which is take stock of their life, their situation, what they were willing to tolerate, and more importantly, what they were not willing to tolerate. And I went ahead and made the decision to leave. It was probably the riskiest move I've made in my career, and the scariest, of course. I was 51 at the time.
Right. Wow.
And,
Yeah.
you know, coming out of a global pandemic and leaving the stability of a corporate paycheck and all of these things, like, what am I doing, right?
So did you also have the voice that we were talking about there in the beginning that was saying, psst,
Yes.
psst, hey,
Yes.
hey, Anita.
Yeah. The pst came back in 2016.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's to your point.
Yeah.
You may hear it. That doesn't mean you do something immediately.
That's right.
But now you're paying attention to it.
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Yes. And I'm glad you actually put a fine point on that by asking that question, because 2016, we had some leadership changes at the firm that I was in that I wasn't too crazy about. We had a little bit of a shift in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that year in 2016. And then the Cubs won the World Series, and I'm a Sox fan. And I was like, okay. But 2016 happened to be the year that more of my friends were saying, well, you've got a lot to give. Why don't you go start your own this or your own that? And none of them were in the industry, by the way. They were just my girlfriends. So I started listening to that. I started noticing the type of work that I was gravitating towards, even at work, whether it was mentoring other people. You know, when I was in charge of hiring, focusing on hiring and finding more women, people of color, and saying, okay, well, what is this about? You know, I launched a women's initiative network, which, by the way, none of these things were things that I was getting extra pay for.
Right.
It was literally things that I was just bounding out of bed for. So I would say to your listeners, that's one of the things. Where does your heart just soar? Put aside the money. I know that's easy to say, but just for a moment to do that exercise for yourself. What is it where doesn't feel like work? And so I started paying attention to those. And as I say often, I followed the breadcrumbs. What was really exciting to me? And it was the power of economic empowerment for women. That was a large theme in all of this. That meant bringing more women into the industry, because we tend to find careers where it's either in hospitality or education or nursing, and these are all phenomenal jobs and very needed jobs, but unfortunately our country doesn't value them.
Right.
And so they're not very high paying jobs.
Yeah.
Right? So I am now saying, hey, women, those are great, but how about this? How about you go for jobs where you're actually going to make a lot of money? It's going to use the skills that you naturally have, which is relationship building and nurturing, and you're gonna make a lucrative career out of it, right? So I think we'll get into some of those questions in a little bit, but from my perspective, it was listening to that voice that said, what is the stuff that you're gravitating towards, and what's the stuff that you keep putting off?
Ooh, right. Like, not now.
Yes.
Don't have time for that.
Correct.
Don't want to know.
Right.
Yeah, that was always mine. Like, nope, don't want to know. I don't want to know because I know what that might mean and I don't want to do it.
That's right.
Don't want to do it. I do not want to do that. Don't make me small voice, still small voice. Stop talking.
You know this well. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. So I'm like, no,
Yes.
not now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of where my head was in early 2021, and that's how I ended up launching Lotus Women's Institute.
I mean, I love that. I love that. So as part of that, you work with, you mentor, coach, recruit.
Yes.
Right? All of the things.
Yeah. Yeah. So I remember in January of 2021 sitting on a girlfriend's couch, and she's like, "You're going to be out of the workforce. You're going to be out of a job in a week." I said, "Yeah. What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know." And she said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And it was one of the most liberating moments of my life, because it made me realize, oh, wait a minute. This is my life. I can make a choice to not go back to work for somebody. I can make a choice that I want to have a purposeful life, a meaningful career where I can make an impact. And so I had never felt that level of excitement. I can honestly say, certainly in my corporate career up until that time, I had never felt that level of like, I can do anything. It sounds cheesy, right? But somebody had to hit me over the head with it.
Well, that's what, I mean, I'm hearing like on a few occasions, I've heard now you say like, you know, something like someone in your life, like a close person in your life, like a girlfriend in your life, like part of someone in your immediate community network of friends. Yeah. Like to your point, not even in your industry, just your friends. Right. But I'm hearing like also the power of a community that knows me, that loves me, that sees me, and pushes me in a good way.
That's
to be like, you can do that. Like, what do you want to do? I love that. Like, what as a great question. Like, what do you want to do?
Yes, yes. And truthfully, as women, how many people actually ask us that in our lives? Right. What do you want to do? Right. And I had, what was I? I was 51 at the time, and I just don't remember being asked that. And so it was a point of like, it was like a Gloria Steinem moment for me. Like I literally felt like, oh my God, you know, and the sky was the limit. And the first thing, you know, she said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I want more Anitas in this field. She's like, okay, go do it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I was just given permission, which, trust me, we don't need permission, but I felt like I needed permission.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I've had those moments with people in my life who were like, in fact, we were talking before we hit record about Santa Fe, how I spent a week there with my work parents. Yeah. They were one of the first people, like in 2013, 14, good grief. Yeah. Before I moved back east to say, girl, you can manage a whole team of people. Like, you got this. Like, you can do X, Y, or Z. And I'm like, what is wrong with them? Like, how do they... I mean, this was a small design office, and I was the office manager. And I'm like, how would they even know this about me? I mean, I'm not doing anything that I'm aware of that would reflect any of those things. But they saw it, and they said it. That's the thing I was observing is like, we can recognize the spark in someone, we can see it, but we also have to say it out loud to them, because sometimes they need to, like I needed to hear that as a form of permission, or at least as a form of like, oh, I can do that? Like, right. I couldn't see it. So, yeah.
And here's the other thing, you know, I also talk a lot about ripple effects, right? The ripple effect is that my friend doing that for me in early 2021, what do you think I do now? I have the conversations like I did with you in July of 2024. If I see something in somebody, doggone it, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. Whether they do anything with it or not, they need to hear that they have, I'm going to plant that seed, and then it's up to them to water it. Right. So that's a powerful ripple effect. I'm so grateful that not just that friend, but multiple people since then, quite frankly, both men and women have said, you know, you should go do this. You should go do this. And I finally am at a point now where it's like, well, of course I should, because if not me, then who?
Right. Ooh, I like that. That's that's another twist on if not now, when? Yeah. If not me, who? Right. Oh, yeah. I love that.
Yeah. We each have something unique to offer to this planet. I am such a believer in that now, Hella. Each of us, if you think about how vast this globe is, how diverse, 8 billion people or whatever the statistic is, and think of it, each person has their own gift, their own strength. And it's not up to somebody else to figure what that is for us. But we've got to dig down deep and figure out what that is. This is the whole exercise of like figuring out your core values, what matters to you. Nobody talked to me about this stuff 30 years ago. We didn't talk like that in the workplace. You just came in and did the job, collected a paycheck, and went home.
Right.
And some people still do that, and God bless them. I can't be one of those people. I've got to have my work connect the dots to something larger, to something greater. I evolved to that. It's not like I was looking for that on day one, but certainly now at the age of 55, I want to be very intentional about how I spend my day.
Right. You know, again, if not now, when? If not me, who? And, you know, I get to go do it. Like, do it.
Yeah.
I don't need to wait anymore. I've been waiting my whole life.
Right.
I mean, that was my journey, at least. I was like, no. You, everybody else, not me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would also say, just because we're both talking here, the north of 50 sisterhood.
Yes.
I don't feel old. I don't feel old at all. And in fact, I actually think the 20-year-olds need to be jealous of us.
That's right.
I feel free. I feel free. I feel like, what can't I do? I have fewer F's to give, right?
Yeah.
And I just don't, it's not that I don't care. I care what people think as long as they are people that I know have my best interest.
Right.
Right. Like I have to respect you and your opinion of me for it to matter to me. But something happens after you turn 50 and you just whittle down the number of people whose opinion genuinely concerns you or matters to you. And I don't say that to be negative at all. It's a fact. And you start to realize how much you've weathered as a human being, as a woman. And that gives you confidence. The topic of self-confidence, which so many women, it comes up in every article, what do we do, what do we do? You know what you do? You just put one foot in front of the other and you mess up. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Right? You just go from today to tomorrow, and sometimes this hour to the next hour, right? We've all been at that place in our life where we're down on our knees. And my dearest friends told me, just get to the next hour. That's all you need to do, right? And that's how you build confidence. I did not build confidence because everybody tells me, look how great you are, Anita. I had to feel it. I had to look around, turn around and see where I came from and see that I'm still standing. That's where I know that I can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's been my experience. I mean, ever since, you kicked off this whole, I blame you. No, I mean, after that conversation, then I had several more.
Yeah.
Actually, 3 in total. You, this gentleman in New York, who I thought for sure, at this point, I'm like, yes, I'm going to do podcast something. And I thought for sure he was the one who was going to like slide me on into a job. And then when he asked me like, well, what is it you want to do? Oh my God. I said, well, I want to do this tour around the country and da, 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 da. He's like, you should totally do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, listen.
Yeah.
That was not your line. What are you doing? And then I talked to another person like maybe 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Same thing. I'm like, all right, that's the 3rd time now between Anita, this guy, and this other woman, all in very different fields, don't know me. First time they've ever talked to me, saying the same thing. I'm like, all right. And then, just do it. Because then I was like, oh, well, how do I do that? I'm like, well, I'm just going to learn to do it while doing it.
That's it. That's the best way. It's the yes and.
Right.
Yes, I'm tired and this is going to be what it is. And, yeah, exactly. Gone are the days of perfection.
Yeah.
Even as a small business owner, the number of books that people, let me say well-intentioned people gift me. How to build a business in X number of, first you put this plan together and that, and you know what? I understand that there is a time and a place for those types of things. I have to realize that that's not who I am. Well, don't get me wrong. I come from the numbers world. I am hyper focused on profitability, And quite frankly, as a result, I've been profitable for the first 4 years. Most businesses don't even make it 4 years, much less be profitable, right? But that is not to say, I am not one of these people who's going to reel off to you what my 3-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan, it just doesn't, my brain, believe it or not, even though it comes from corporate America, doesn't work that way. Because there's so many different variables that I see. If people try to ratchet me down to one vision, it's actually, I've become frustrated with myself because it's like, why do I not have one vision? Well, there's multiple things that I want to do that are all tied to economic empowerment for women.
This is like also very exciting for me because like 2 things I just heard in there. One is it's okay to multitask in the sense of have 5 separate things sort of going at the same time, but that are all connected to ultimately one purpose.
Yes.
The purpose is what matters, is what I just heard.
That's right.
What's my why?
Yep.
And that's what I keep coming back to when I'm tired.
Yeah.
What is my why again? Oh, right.
Yeah.
Amplifying women's voices. Right. Okay, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what if I'm tired? It's going to be fine. And I heard there, like, so that might sometimes mean you're working in a very asymmetric way.
Yes. Yes.
And I also heard in there, and part of that is, yes, putting out your intention and your desire and your want and going after making the money.
Yes.
Like this is not a charity situation.
No.
Which is what I'm working on. That's phase 2 for Hella.
A lot of people say that. Oh, Lotus Women's Institute, it sounds like a not-for-profit. I was like, oh no, couldn't be further from not-for-profit. And keep in mind, it's for a woman to say in this society, I want to make money.
I know this makes me very uncomfortable. Just not you saying it, but me saying it.
That's right.
I was just talking to my somatic practitioner about that this morning. It takes a village, y'all. I mean, we had a session this morning and I was, she was like, just say it, own it. You want that. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Think about it this way. I encourage all women, think about it this way. Without financial health, without money, with a capital M, how are you going to live in a country that has one of the most expensive healthcare in the world, right? How are you going to take care of yourself? Never mind, how are you going to take care of your loved ones?
Right.
Right? Money is not just for fun and games. That's great. We all use it for that. But I'm just talking about the core principles of needing financial wellness, let's say, to live a decent life. It's not easy.
No, it's not.
Right?
No, it really is. Well, and I think that goes to your point, it's the same thing as like a woman negotiating her salary.
Yeah.
A woman, saying, yeah, I want my business to make money.
Correct.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And not just like pay the bills, get by. Like I want to make a profit.
Right.
And like, because now I can do more things with that extra.
Exactly.
Reinvest it or take care of family or myself or whatever. It's a freedom. It's about freedom and access and opportunity.
Yes.
It's a resource.
Yes.
Like it's one of the resources that makes life go better for myself and those around me.
Yeah.
For sure. And yet it's the one thing, it's like I can't say the word.
Right.
The money word with a capital M. I'm like, oh no, you can't do that.
Right.
I don't know why. Where's that come from?
Well, where it comes from is if you ever sat with yourself, which you and I just joked that you like to do and I like to do.
Right.
We love to sit with ourselves.
Yeah.
So when we do that, to go back, way back, and say, where do my money messages come from? I was an immigrant, right, as I mentioned, and my parents were very typical in how they thought about money. They conserved. They were very conservative. And, we didn't spend a lot of money. If we went to McDonald's, it was like once every 6 months. I mean, my husband is like horrified when he hears that. He's American. He was raised here. we just didn't spend money. And so we have to go way back to figure out how it is that we were raised. It's not like we're suddenly adults and we have these ideas about money. Those ideas were born long time ago. So exploring why you feel that way. But if you just think about society and women and how women are conditioned to think about money, it's always from a scarcity perspective, right? You're going to run out of money. You want to make sure you're not a bag lady. You got to save. You got to, and here's the thing. We're always told to save. We're never told to invest.
Right, because that's a very different, like that's like let the money that you're saving, so to speak, make money for you.
Correct.
While you're sleeping.
It's the whole concept of compound interest, right? Einstein called it the eighth wonder of the world, and there's a reason for that. But women, you know, oh, you're not good at investing, you're not good at math, you're not good at it. We've bought into this. We've bought into this utter nonsense, right? And so one of the ways I respectfully try to scare the crap out of women is that you are not going to build wealth saving it. That can be a component. You can have a component in savings, but you can't save your way to long-term wealth. You've got to invest the majority of it. Now, how you invest it, it has everything to do with your appetite for risk and all of that, and that was my prior career, right? But this is why we need, and this all ties in with the work I'm doing with Lotus, this is why we need more women in that role, is to talk to other women about it, because women on the outside of our industry either don't know it, don't realize how, quite frankly, how simple it is. I'm here to tell you it's not that complicated. Wall Street has done a number on women and minorities to create this like myth that it's just complex and, you know, you got to look at the quotes and watch CNBC and all. It's utter BS, right? So I'm here to try to demystify all of that.
Right, right.
My message to women is that ignoring it is not a luxury. And you can be a multimillionaire or you can have a few pennies to your name. You've got to pay attention to it. Your future deserves that.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Your future deserves that.
Yeah.
In other words, you deserve a good future.
Yes. Yes. And so many times we are not willing to necessarily say, well, my kids need me, or this person needs me, or my parents, like the sandwich generation now. Everybody needs us.
Right.
Who doesn't need us?
Oh, yeah. No, I know so many people. I mean, I don't have kids. And both my parents have passed. However, I know so many people who are in that, like, they don't know which way to turn.
Right.
I mean, I was just actually having dinner with a couple I had just met, and the wife spent most of the dinner on the phone because the dad was in the hospital. Her dad was in the hospital, and of course, you know, she's trying to help navigate her sisters in the emergency room. You know, all this stuff going on. You know, and then, you know, then there's adult kids elsewhere, you know, I mean, there's just a lot happening, and it's like back and forth. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot on
And
our
she's
plate.
going to work, you know, the next day. It's not like she's off or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And the key concept here is that we can't continue to pour out to these people that we love in our lives and not pour inwards first and foremost. Right. Because otherwise we've got nothing to pour.
Right. Yeah.
So,
okay. So when you made that shift, you had all these inputs, permission slips. You do this, you can do this, go do that thing that you have this idea that's been sitting there around there for 5 years, bumping around this little voice. So, so then what was the next step you took after, like, you sitting on the couch with your friend? She's like, what are you going to do in a week?
Yeah.
So what was the next few steps?
Yeah.
And like, what was that like?
Yeah. It's funny. I'll never forget it. I left her house at 2 a.m. I came home and I told my 18-year-old daughter, who was sitting on the couch, I think I want to know what I want to do until my last breath. And I literally had a legal pad and I wrote for the next 2 hours. Everything, like no rules, just here's what I see, and I still have that.
Wow.
And so that was the immediate next step. But, you know, overall, just kind of outlining what it is that I wanted to do, which at the time was basically recruit. I wanted to see more Anitas, and that meant recruit. To be honest with you, Hella, I didn't even think about coaching. I really didn't. Coaching grew out of the recruiting practice.
Oh, right. So, like, as you're working with women to do the recruiting
Yes.
practice, you're noticing, like, oh, I can help them with other things.
Yes.
First, before we even get to a new job or
That's
situation.
right. That's right. And not surprisingly, a lot of it had to do with self-talk. What are we saying to ourselves? Because I could relate to every single one of them. I had imposter syndrome. I still have moments of self-doubt. I think we all do. I think the people who say they don't are lying, quite frankly. We all have self-doubt. It's just, what do we do in spite of it, right? Do we
Right.
stop or do we still move forward? So topics like that, and then, developing our brand. And even though it sounds kind of corporate-y, it's basically, what do you want people to say about you when you're not there? So getting women to think through these sometimes, and how many of us are conflict averse, right? How do we approach conflict in a productive manner? And I'm not coming at this, by the way, in a look how great I am. I'm coming at it from, well, here's what I did that did not work. Did not work. No, do not do this.
Like, do whatever you do, don't do that.
Don't do that. And here's what I learned the hard way. And so I always say my coaching is really born out of my own lived experience as a brown-skinned woman in a heavily male-dominated industry. So I will say, if this works for you, please feel free to take it. If it doesn't, God bless, right? But I want some of these rather unpleasant experiences I went through in my career, if they could be of value in teaching someone else what to do or what not to do, then it will all have been worth it. That's the way I think about it right now. The difficulty I went through assimilating into this, we'll call it culture in the corporate world, I don't want it to be that difficult for women and minorities today. I just don't, because what's going to happen? They're going to leave.
Right. Right.
And it negates everything that I'm about, everything that I'm trying to do in terms of bringing them into the field. What launched the coaching program for Lotus was that some of these individuals would say, nobody's paying attention to my career path here. You placed me at this job, Anita, but no one's really asking me what I want to do long term.
Oh, wow.
So that made me nervous, because I'm not, to be honest with you, I don't view myself as a recruiter.
Right. Right.
A recruiter places a candidate, picks up a fee, and walks off.
Right.
I place a candidate, but it's very intentional. Is she the right fit? Is the company the right fit? What can I do once they are hired to make sure that they stay? What can I do to benefit the firm? What can I do to benefit the individual? How do the dialogues become more collaborative instead of employee versus employer, right? So I don't know what you call me, but that's not a recruiter.
Right. No, that's something else. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have to ponder that. Maybe when I'm driving later.
There you go.
Driving an hour north later, it'll come to me. I'll be like, I'll come up with a title for you.
There you go.
How about that?
I would love it.
I also know from our conversations that you're also a big believer. Like, this is not an anti-dude thing either.
No, not at all.
In fact, like, dudes welcome. I didn't get here just with my women friends.
That's
I had
right.
a lot of dude friends,
That's
dudes in my life. Yeah, I'm curious to hear a little bit about that from your experience, like what that looks like when we're all working together, I guess, is one way to say it.
I say it before, and I've definitely met with disagreement, but I don't think we can achieve full equality on our own. I really don't, because the power structure has to be involved. For us to actually make real change, okay? I'm not talking about, the day-to-day things. Yes, women are incredibly powerful. We are strong inwards and outwards. We can do a lot of things. But the real systemic change cannot take place unless the people in power have subscribed to the philosophy. And guess who's in power right now? White men.
Right.
Old white men.
Right.
And we cannot make the change by othering them.
Right.
And with some individuals, I think it's a lost cause. I think you and I both know that. But I will tell you that in the 4 years that I've left corporate America, some of my biggest advocates have been white males. It is oftentimes white males who have said, do not discount your fee. I'll pay you what you're asking. It is usually if I go to, and I'll probably piss off somebody else by saying this, but going to a not-for-profit where oftentimes the executive director is a woman who will see if I can speak for next to nothing or nothing.
That's a really important element to that whole thing. Again, money with a capital M.
Yes.
Like I am worth my full fee. And
Correct.
I can choose here and there, you know, for whatever reasons, if I want to,
Right.
Whatever, lower that or make an exception, whatever, that's fine. But yeah, I think that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, it is. And that's not to say all men or all women, but
Right.
but let me put it to you this way. It's actually one of the surprises I've had in the past 4 years, right? And my ultimate point is that I need these male allies, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
Right.
For me to move the needle, I mean, who do you think owns the majority of these wealth management firms? It's men. And if I keep saying, oh, all white men are this or all that, or it just doesn't, then I'm only speaking to be the loudest person in the room. I'm not really affecting change if you think about it. Right?
Yeah.
So I think it's part of the larger systemic crisis that we've got in this country right now. But we've got to be able to say, look, I don't have to agree with everything you're saying, but help a sister out here, right? I need access to firms. I need to coach your women. I need to help you find more brown people for your staff. And by and large, most of these dudes are like, yeah, you know what? You're right.
Right. Yeah.
But this ties into, one of the coaching modules that I do is tackling difficult conversations.
Right.
How do you do that? You do that by saying, here's the benefit for you. So for example, when I'm speaking to firms, I will say, women are going to control the bulk of private wealth in 5 years. By the year 2030, we're going to control 34 trillion in private wealth. That's a lot of money. So the client of the future is a woman. Who do you want on your front lines? Anita, we need women. That's right. So that's why you need Lotus Women's Institute, right? So you're creating something where this is a benefit for them. It's a benefit for me because it tackles my mission, right?
Right.
But it's a benefit for them because it gives them a competitive advantage. So you have to speak in a way where you're inviting them to the table, not some of the rhetoric that we see about they don't get it, screw them, we're just never going to make change that way.
No, and also it just sets up an antagonistic attitude, and I'm all about no.
Correct.
No, let's not do that.
Right.
Let's not yell at each other. Right. Let's get together, because I think fundamentally, we all want the same thing.
Yes.
We want to get ahead.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion.
Yes.
Move forward. So we could get further.
Yes.
When we do that together.
Oh, amen, lady.
Yeah. So I'm like, let's just let's hug it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proverbially. And work together and find, and I love that. To me, I hear in there this idea of unity. And, for me, that often means everybody gets to have a voice.
Yeah.
And everybody gets to have a vote. And we get to listen, everybody gets to speak and everybody gets to listen.
Right.
So it's questions asked, questions answered, back and forth. And we're not all going to get all the things we all want at all the times.
Correct.
And we can get a lot of the things we want and need and more effectively together. Everyone will get all the things.
Right.
Ultimately.
And
we'll get there in this much more forceful, unified way.
Well, and the bigger thing is, especially if you're looking at an organization, ultimately, you should want what's best for the organization, because the concept is if the organization succeeds, so will the people. Now, leadership controls a lot of that, and that's where sometimes you get the rub, right? Because they take more, they give less to the team, the staff, the employees, and they're greedy, right? So that's another problem that's for a different podcast. But ultimately, we should all be saying, what are the God-given strengths I have that I can use to push this entity forward for me, for the person sitting to the right and left of me, to management, to the customer, for the client, all of that, because then I'm going to benefit. That is a well-run business. But in order to do that, you have to have people with different ways of thinking, because that's how you get innovation.
Right.
And innovation leads to profitability. I mean, I'm not saying anything that 1,000 other business books haven't written about. If you've got groupthink, you are totally behind the 8 ball. So it's my job to get some of these companies to see that. You're not just, don't hire a candidate of mine just because you want to check a damn box.
Right.
You better be hiring her because you truly see her potential.
Right.
And bring her to the table, right, to have these conversations. So it's a lot of work. And as you can see, I get wound up.
No. I love it. So, but in the process of this journey, you also started a podcast.
Yes.
Called Women, Wealth, and Wisdom.
Yes. Well, my podcast, the inner voice to do the podcast was probably about 2 years ago. And I kept talking about it. And finally, a couple of my girlfriends said, either shut up about it or do it. Do one of the two. Right?
You have the same girlfriend. Do we have the same girlfriends?
We might.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? You are correct. I am going to do it. So once I get my mind on something, just as I did with Lotus, no stopping. So immediately I started interviewing producers because I knew I didn't want to just do it in my basement, right? And landed on someone that was a good fit. And I think the best thing that he brought, obviously the production quality and everything, but the best thing he brought and the way I work is a level of organization. First, we're going to do this. Then I need you to do this. Then I need you to. I'm a good homework gal. Give me homework and I will do it.
I'm hearing again something you've said earlier is like, know your own strengths.
Yeah.
Know what you want and also know your own strengths, what brings you joy,
Yeah.
and then go for those things.
Yes.
And then find, and within that now I'm hearing, and then find the people to work with.
Yes.
Who can support that.
Correct.
By giving you the homework if that's your vibes or whatever.
Right.
Know. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so he was really good about that and keeping me on track and keeping me organized. And look, I won't lie, being in the workforce for 30 plus years has its advantages. I had the pick of hundreds of people to choose from. And I knew that for this first season, I wanted it to be more on the financial empowerment side. And so that's how I structured the topics. And financial empowerment isn't just about empowerment. It is about the topic of shame, the topic of embarrassment that so many women deal with when it comes to money. And I also wanted to talk about women who chose this as a career, some of them quite by accident, and others because they inherited the business from another family member, from their father, whatever, and then they took it and they ran with it. And I wanted them to see, I wanted the listeners, especially women, to hear how, oh, I don't have to have a business degree from Harvard and all of these exotic pedigrees to enter wealth management. No, I just have to have a desire to help. I just have to have a desire to believe in the power of financial health and just a good, strong work ethic, which, I'm sorry, most of the women I know have.
Right. Yeah.
So if we could start again, here we go with the ripple effect. If we can start a ripple effect by having women hear these stories. I mean, Hella, a couple of these women on my podcast came from horrific circumstances, and they are at the top of the top right now.
Yeah. No, I was struck by the a lot of times I heard them share about feeling less than,
Yes.
not having a voice.
Yes.
That one stood out to me because that's been my journey, is like reclaiming my voice, using my voice
Right.
in a podcast, like talking and saying things and giving other women voices and all the things.
Yeah.
But that one really stood out to me, and the imposter syndrome, not feeling like they deserve to be at the table and doing it anyway and being uncomfortable and asking for the raise and it was really very impactful on me to listen to them share about that, and knowing where they are now,
Right.
To have them share so honestly about what it was like.
That's right.
For them and how it can still be even now.
Yes. And to have, I had women leaving me voicemails, very emotional.
Yeah.
Saying this specific episode I just listened to. Some of them would listen to the episodes out of order, and they just happened to land on something that just got them, that just really got them, And how do you put a price tag on that?
Yeah, you don't.
I'm just like, oh my gosh, and I'm so grateful for these guests, women and then one male, who took a chance on me. They didn't know what it would turn out to be.
Right.
I could have been a total buffoon trying to launch this thing, right? But they said, no, we'll give it to you. We'll give you our time.
Fine.
Yes. And it ended up being really impactful. So yeah, I'm gearing up to do another
So what do you want to do? Where do you want to take that? Like, what do you want it to be in season 2?
So in my coaching, a couple of themes have come up. And one of those themes is these women who are, they're successful. They don't necessarily hate their careers, nothing like that. But they can't help feeling that something is missing. And maybe they've been at it for a while. Maybe they've been in the workforce for 15 years, 20 years, whatever it is, but they're just kind of like, am I using all of the strengths that I have? Would it be accepted here in the current environment, in my workplace? And I can relate to that. I can relate to that because I tried on many occasions, too high to count, to do what I'm doing now with Lotus. I tried to offer it to the firm that I was at in the corporate world. And it just wasn't taken. They weren't ready for it, whatever the reasoning may be. And so, the universe has a plan and it all worked out and everything happens for a reason, yada, yada. But it's strange to me. I keep saying there's something in the water now with women. It comes up, Hella, in almost every conversation I have, some form of it. Like, oh yeah, I'm happy, but, and then there's always that but, and then for the next 20 minutes they talk about how unhappy they are.
Yeah, I get that.
So I was like, wow, you sound really happy. So
I'm not convinced that you're as happy as you say you are.
And it's one of the things, like you were saying, you didn't want to hear from me that you needed to be doing something different, because it's kind of like, oh shoot, now I got to go do something.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those. And so they don't come around. If anything, I'm launching this Power with Purpose coaching program to address that woman, okay?
Who doesn't want to hear the thing.
Doesn't want to hear the thing.
Yeah, because I was like, yeah, I know, and I don't want to know. I don't, because now I got to do something about it, right. And if I don't want to.
Yeah.
And I also know, but I also know I have to.
Yeah.
It's like I can't not do it.
Yes.
But man, that's scary.
But there you go. So
that's the fear.
That's the fear. So it comes back to your original question. What do you want the second season to be?
Yeah.
I want the second season to be about, think about it as almost like Anita Knotts Coaching 101 over however many episodes, right? What is, if you had no boundaries or barriers and it was just you, what is it? Allow yourself to think through and envision what I refer to as the next chapter. What is that next chapter? I don't care if it's staying at home. It is about saying that what I want matters. What I want matters. Even if it's just, hey, I want my next chapter, which is, of course, I'm biased on this, but I want my next chapter to be one where I have equal say in what goes on in my household from a financial perspective. Maybe it is a recent immigrant where, many of these countries, and I come from India where it's much better now, but women had no say in anything, much less finances, right? So some of these individuals who've immigrated recently, perhaps from India, these are women that I talk to who oftentimes they're out there, they've got a job, but when they come home, guess what? They have no decision making, really. They have to ask for an allowance. I mean, oof, the stories that I've heard, just in the recent years, right? So maybe their next chapter is, can I just understand what is going on in the household financial sphere? And can I have some input? And what does that conversation sound like? Right? So I want to dive deep. I want
Right.
to dive deep into the things that we are not, I'm going to say it, we are not challenging ourselves enough. We really aren't. Yes, do structural and systemic changes need to happen? Yes. Do our husbands need to take on more work at home? Yes. All of it, okay? But can we just focus on what it is that we can do?
Right.
Because guess what? We can't control the system, and we can't control really our husbands.
Yeah, or anyone else.
Or
for that
anyone
matter.
else.
That's where my power actually resides, is with myself and the things I do or don't do or choose one way or the other to do or not do.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, I love this.
Yes. Yes. So I would want the second season is going to be powerful. It's going to be deep. It's going to be very emotional, and I want there to be not just ripple effects. I want there to be tidal waves coming out of that second season. So yes,
I get the goosebumps. Getting goosebumps. It goes back to that, like the M word, the money word, like shame about like talking about it. And like, I feel like you're unshaming
yes,
all the conversations that are connected to money. Cause money is just sort of like the stand-in, and connected to it are all these other things going on in a household or in my life or things I'm not doing because money this or money that. So it's a kind of like in this little center spot, and all these things radiate out from it. So, and we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about the elephant in the room. The thing in the middle is the money part.
Right, right. And, you know, the M word, in my opinion, is the new F word, freedom.
Ooh, I love that.
Money is freedom.
Yeah.
It is, like I always say, it's freedom from a bad job. It's freedom from a bad marriage. It's freedom from a bad boss. You know, it's freedom to launch your own business.
That's right. Well, that's what I did too. Yeah. I mean, when you were saying about investing, I'm like, well, right now I'm investing, you know, yes, in the markets, et cetera.
Yeah.
And some of that I'm choosing right now to invest in myself, which is also a thing. I mean, I was like terrified. I'm like, well, you know, I don't need to, but I'm choosing to invest in myself and give myself a little bit more time.
Right.
Before I can work out the mechanics of, like, you know, making this into a quote business situation.
Yes.
That's bringing in money.
Well, and I would be remiss if I didn't say this. I was blessed. I did well in the corporate world. Well, I should, you know, we got to stop saying this stuff. I'm blessed. I worked my tail end off, and I did well, let's say.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm grateful that I had opportunities and such. And so I was okay launching this firm without a backup plan. But keep in mind, you don't need to have that. And this is part of what I want women to really, we can sit in the fear. Let's not let it prevent us from doing what we need to do for ourselves. I don't know, you know, what's her name? Sarah Blakely, Spanx founder.
Oh, yeah.
She launched Spanx with $5,000, and she's a billionaire now. So literally no excuses.
Right.
If you want to do something, I mean, there's a lot wrong with our country today, don't get me wrong, but one thing I will say, you can pretty much do anything here.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. I was just having that conversation with someone else. I'm like, this is still, like, they were like asking me something because, you know, I'm dual citizen. And they were like, just curious, like, would you ever like want to live back in Euroland? And I was like, no.
No.
Because you can do things here you cannot do there.
Correct.
Still to this day. Yeah, there's other things that are sort of taken care of. I get it. But there's a certain vibes here. You just can't do the things you can do here. That's why my parents came here.
That's right.
Because you could do things here. If they could have done them there, they would have stayed.
Right.
Granted, that was 50 years ago now, but still, you know, it's still the same in my opinion.
Yes.
So, okay, what are some things, you know, to the lady out there listening who's like, I don't even know where to start with money and investing, and I don't have a lot to invest even. Yeah. So what are like maybe some of the like easy things, entry points or suggestions you would make or give that person?
Yeah. So the financial coaching that I do, because I'm no longer an advisor, right? financial coaching, I break it down into 3 kind of sections. First is just, I call it financial fundamentals. It's like financial literacy, learning what your credit score is. How much do you have in debt? Do you have an emergency fund? And if so, like how many months will that last you? Like if you were to lose your job tomorrow, something like that. Notice I've not even talked about investing. This is what I mean when I say the fundamentals. It's taking a snapshot of where you are today, right? Where do you bank? Do you have a checkings account? Do you have a checkings and savings account? How much? Right? Expenses, that type of thing. Second thing that I would focus on is your budget. What is coming into your household, whether you're single or you have a family, what's coming into your household in terms of salary, in terms of hourly wages, in terms of side hustles, all of it. If you're older, maybe Social Security, etc. And then what's leaving the household. And this sounds really fundamental, but most people don't do it. And doesn't need to be fancy. There's free templates online. I don't care if you pull up a spreadsheet. I don't care if you do it in a book that looks like a ledger. One side income, one side expenses. Make it as simple as it needs to be. And do it for at least 3 months so you get to see what's going where, right? After that, you want to take some part of what's left. Could be 10%, could be 15%, and you want to begin to invest. And since I'm not an advisor, I'm not necessarily regulated on what and how to say this, but my business and professional opinion is that you never have too little to invest. So if you've got a really small amount, you put it in an index fund that represents the broader market, like the S&P 500 index fund, or an exchange-traded fund. You call Anita Knotts. And while I can't do it for you anymore, I can certainly give you suggestions and maybe even who to talk to, right? There's many wonderful people out there who can absolutely help. But the point is that you have to start, and you had to have started yesterday. And the second best day is today.
Right.
And this is not a sales pitch because I don't benefit from it.
Right.
This is me saying to women, you don't have a choice. You must invest. If you have one index fund that mimics the S&P 500, you are doing awesome. The second step now is to put something every month into it. I don't care if it's $5, I don't care if it's $500, put something into it because of compound interest, right? So compound interest, the benefit of that is that the earlier you start, the better it is for you. So to any of your listeners who've got young kids, get them started right now. If they are under the age of 18, you open up a custodial account and you start that investment account today. Because by the time that child is well into their workforce years, this is the best gift you could have given them. Better than a car. I'm going to argue better than a down payment, better than a beautiful dress. You open up an investment account for them and you will be their hero.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
This is what I keep saying. I think that our industry, unfortunately, has really done a number because it's benefited from intimidating people and not being freely accessible to people, right? The irony about wealth management is that it caters to the people who need it the least. It does not help the people who need it the most.
Right, right.
So I'm trying to unravel that a bit by saying, hey, this doesn't mean you can't get started.
Right, right.
If anything, the risk is not investing. The risk is not investing.
Right, right. I love this. Thank you so much, Anita. I just love, I could do this all,
gosh.
I could sit here all day in your sunroom and chat away about all the things because, I mean, I had the benefit, like my immigrant parents, my mom was very on it with me about the money stuff.
Okay.
To a certain point. She was like, do this, do this, do this. But for me, at least, it didn't address confidence in myself or, yeah, that's really probably what it boiled down to, or the ability to speak up for myself.
Yes.
And, I went the other direction. I sort of took care of too many things for other adults that really should have been taking care of themselves.
Yes. Right.
Right. So it came out that way in me, a little bit sideways.
Okay.
So I knew all the things. I had all the purse strings. Essentially, but then I just kept had a leaky bottom to this purse situation.
Right.
Because I didn't believe in myself enough to invest in me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'll invest in you.
Yeah.
Whoever you are. So,
yes.
So this has been really inspiring to me. Like, what do I want? If not now, when? And if not me, who?
Correct.
Yeah. And I think that applies also to the, I can just invest my $5.
That's right. That's right.
Open my account and do my $5.
Yes.
And throw in another $5 next month, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to, I speak to a lot of women in their 50s and sometimes even their 60s, and they're just like, Anita, I don't have anything. And what can you do? You've got two choices, really. You can continue to lament the fact that you have never done anything, or you can get up and do something. I don't know about you. I'm going for option 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's never, in my opinion, it's never too late. You've got to do it, though. You've got to do it. There are resources out there. This is the other thing. There's never been a day and age when information is so easily accessible. That's a good and a bad thing, because a lot of women don't trust our industry either. There's a lot of bad information out there. There's a lot of shysters out there, right? Find a person that you trust. Look in your network. Who do you trust? What are they doing? We need to speak about this more. Right. It's not some hush-hush topic. Women are okay talking about sex and wine and everything else. Can we talk about money? Can we talk about financial health?
Yeah, money can sometimes, as often as taboo as talking about orgasms.
Correct.
Quite frankly.
That's the title of this episode.
Money is an orgasm. I don't know. There's something in there about that. But, from money to orgasms, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just, even though that seems taboo, we're still more inclined to talk about that.
Yes.
Than to talk about money and all the things attached to the money and owning the money and having the money and wanting the money. All of the money things just get all kinds of wackadoodle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say this in terms of my why. I said this in my TED Talk, so it's not really a new thing, but it's an important thing. Why is it that Anita is so obsessed with economic empowerment for women? It is because when women are confident with money, they invest it back into their families, back into their communities, back into society, and everybody benefits, including men.
Right.
It is a really, I cannot emphasize this enough. Most of the time, I think the statistic is that women invest 90% of their net worth into communities. That's a lot. And so it behooves all of us, men and women, to make sure that the women in our lives feel confident about this, feel well equipped to be making decisions about this. Think about your wives, but think about your daughters and your granddaughters too. I think that one of the things that gives me the most hope is that next generation, my daughter knows way more at the age of 23 about her financial situation than I ever did at 23. I was still relying on my father.
Yeah, she's ahead of the game.
She's ahead of the game, and I've got a 20-year-old son who's also ahead of the game.
Right.
And you might say, both my husband and I are in the industry, so of course they were exposed to this, but you don't need to be. You don't need to be in this industry.
No. Well, that's the other thing I heard is you don't have to be some, like you said before, Harvard business grad or some financial wizard or work in the financial businesses.
Correct.
You can be doing whatever it is you do.
Yes.
And claim the empowerment, financial freedom.
That's right.
Really, that, that resource of money provides.
Right.
So.
Right.
Wow. Well, thank you again. This has been delightful.
I've had a blast. I knew I would, but I knew I would. It's you. I knew I would. Everything that I had expected meeting you in person would be, it has been.
Oh, Thank you.
This was such a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. I would drive again all the way here to see you. I'll do it again.
Oh, I would love that.
Yes.
I would love
Oh my
that.
gosh.
Thank you, Hella.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again for listening to The Stories That Sparkle, a space I created for women to share in their own voices the intricacies of their stories. And OMG, another huge thank you to Anita. Wow. I mean, wow, wow, wow. That's all I can say about it. I don't know what else to say about it. If you're a woman who is interested in entering into the financial services sector or work in wealth management, or currently already work in that industry and want to know more about how you can grow in your career, I highly recommend that you reach out to Anita, Lotus Women's Institute, and work with her. I will put all the links in the show notes. She is just incredible. She will help get you to the next place. And more importantly, she will help you get to the next place within yourself. There is no limit to where you can go, and Anita will help you get there wherever that may be. So, thank you, Anita, again for everything. All right, now for some business talk, y'all. As I said at the beginning, I would love for you to consider becoming a free or paid subscriber to my Substack, hellarader.substack.com. It'll help me be able to do more of this and record more women's stories in more different places. So yes, you can also pass this podcast on to others and share it with them, encourage them to listen, download, subscribe, follow, rate, review, all those kinds of things wherever you get your podcasts. And also, if you have a story you want to share or a topic you'd like me to cover in an episode of the podcast, drop me a line to hellarader@substack.com, because together we bring light into dark places.